This is podcast Coffee People in Middle East by Irina Sharipova. Here I speak with coffee professionals in Middle East, how to grow in the coffee industry, about glory and failure, and also I take opinions about coffee culture, personally from coffee people. Hey everyone, my name is Irina Sharipova. I'm in the coffee industry for 10 years already, now doing QC and education part in roastery in Dubai, UAE. And I'm doing this podcast because this is the best way to know the people behind the industry and understand why the coffee market in Middle East grows, the good and bad sides of the coffee jobs, and why people stay in this industry for ages. We start the 9th episode, Coffee People in Middle East, with Frederick Bejo. He's a co-founder and green buyer from Archer's Coffee Roastery, the second place of UAE Brewers Cup 2021. Welcome to the podcast, Frederick.
Hey, thank you, Arina, for having me here.
Welcome. Yes.
This is the first day of Ramadan today. I wanted to greet, all our Muslim brothers.
Yes.
Ramadan Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers all around the world.
Great. Ramadan Mubarak. So we will talk today about how to build up and manage a roastery, coffee business in Middle East, and purpose of origin trips. So when was your last trip for coffee purchases? Because when I see your Instagram, so you're always out of the countries. When was the last trip?
Oh, the last trip we did a processing course in Ethiopia.
Wow.
This is very recent, just last month.
Okay,
So
what was
we did there is we did a Q processing level 2 professional under Coffee Quality Institute.
Wow.
So basically what we did, and at the same time hitch for a coffee buying as well. But what we did on that trip is it's mainly an education, a course under CQI, right? And then from there we talk about coffee post-harvest processing, coffee fermentation, importance of fermentation and coffee drying, and overall farm to cup idea of processing coffee.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the last step of Q processing education course, or it's going to be the level 3?
There is level 3, but the level 3 is not open for now.
Okay.
The level 3 is it will take some time. I think it's a year course.
A year course?
We need to do a lot of online and then a lot of theory and also a lot of farm experience.
Wow,
So
you have to be a
basically,
farmer,
You need
actually.
to become a farmer. The course is the course is very interesting. We talk a lot in coffee post-harvest processing, right? So what's the important on picking up the cherries and ripeness of cherries, and what's the importance of how do you approach coffee fermentation in a different way that impacts or direct flavor profiles in coffee, how even drying affects the final cup. Like, I think everything is very interesting, and on that class, one thing I really learned is sometimes myself, when I start doing coffee processing, I get so excited, and I jump into to straight away the experiencing doing coffee fermentation and stuff like that. But then sometimes this the ABCs, and then it's basically like I do ABC and then I jump to XYZ.
Okay.
What does the Q processing helps me is it helps me to actually know the baseline of the process in general in the farm, not only in the farm, also in the dry mill, understanding how a dry mill works, and all those stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take you, the last trip, like the last course?
The trip took us a total of 12 days because we arrived in Addis Ababa, which is the capital of Ethiopia,
Yeah.
and then From there, we wait for all the students to come because the students are not only from UAE. We have students from Amsterdam, from UK. We have from US. We have even from I think Bangladesh. Some of it in India even. Waited for them in Addis Ababa for a day, and then the next day we hit a very long trip going to Hawassa, which is the capital of near Sidama. Is in Sidama actually. So the trip took us. We started at 8 a.m. in the morning, 7:30, 8 a.m. in the morning, and then it took us 12 hours to reach the Bensa area, which is the place where we are doing our processing courses. And on that area also is the place where we stay, like a lounge or like a motel for us to stay for the whole week. Yeah, and then the place where we stay, we got accommodated by the Bensa. I'm very thankful for them. They help us a lot on the trip, especially I think we're 20 plus students on the trip. They're helping us a lot, and then the area where we live is just 15-20 minutes drive from the washing station by itself. So it's a very, very nice experience to have.
Wow.
I hope you can join us next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting, but of course you need to know fundamentals first, like the level 1. Then you go to level 2, right?
Yes.
To the origin. It's obligatory, right?
Yeah, I think the class of the processing class level 2, if you don't have so much experience in the farm, if you don't understand coffee processing, if you never visit any dry mill or washing stations, it will be a bit hard for you. So I always recommend taking level 1 first. It's not mandatory. You can actually jump to level 2. Especially if you have a lot of experience already in that in the origin side. But if you don't have an experience, a lot of people here don't have an experience yet in the origin. It's really recommended to get the processing level 1 because when the level 2 is not an easy course to pass. It's really not an easy course to pass. There's an exam involved. A lot of exam involves a lot of mathematics and science.
Wow.
On the exam.
Did you pass? Do you know the results? Or
fortunately, I passed the exam. Yeah.
Wow.
So really nice. For the level 1, basically the understanding of again the post-harvest processing. They will also teach you the basic processes like wash process, honey process, and natural process and stuff like that. And they give you a bigger picture of how the farm works, how the washing station works, how the dry mill works, and then they let you taste the coffees also the differentiation between processes, like to differentiate what is dry. Dry fermentation wash process to wet fermentation wash process, right? And then jumping to the level 2 course, it's crazy because what we did is we did only the basic processing, natural wash and honey, but then we did 20 different types of styles in processing. Like there are so many different styles of processing, and then I'm very surprised also with the result that how those a little tweak on fermentation, a little tweak on drying. Impacts the flavors on the coffee.
Yeah, that's very interesting because remembering that when you learn espresso, how to adjust espresso, when you teach people how many factors affect on the coffee flavor, and their brain
it's
burst
already too
out.
much, right?
Yes, but if you speak about processing, like you can do like 20 options, and it will affect on the coffee cup. Wow, that's big info.
This is actually really a good course to join. Why? Especially to those guys in the roastery or quality control people. Because right now, the way I evaluate our coffee is not only limited to the roasting, and it's not only limited to how they extract the coffee, but the way how I evaluate coffee now is break down into three parts. And when I cup or drink coffee, the first evaluation that hits my mind is the coffee good? Is the raw material good? Right? When I talk about raw material, did they process the coffee good? Is it the fresh green beans? How's the fermentation is, right? So sipping that coffee, flying yourself to the farm if they did good in the farm, and if they do good in the farm, then I proceed to the second evaluation, which is roasting. Is it underdeveloped? Is it overdeveloped? Is it in the sweet spot, right? And then if there's no problem with the roasting, then I proceed with the next evaluation, which is did they brew it properly?
Yeah.
So taking those processing courses gives you an opportunity to have a broader perspective of how you evaluate coffee quality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that helps a lot to purchase good coffee.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
it helps a lot.
Good. That's actually what I want to know, because I want to know about coffee origin trip, because I think lots of our listeners, especially like baristas, they heard a lot about coffee origin trips, but what actually is included in coffee origin trip? How do you do that? How it goes, and what is the purpose?
At first, my purpose is basically to understand how the origin works. And how origin works is very different from one origin to another
Can you
origin.
give example, please?
Yes. For instance, in Ethiopia or in Africa in general, most of the exporters slash producers, mainly they're exporters actually, most of the time they don't own farms. They only own washing stations. So what the washing station does is few things. They buy cherries to the local farmers in the neighboring area, and what they do is they are the one who are responsible to process those coffees, to sort those coffees, to dry those coffees, to rest those coffees. Basically, the from receiving those coffees until sending those coffees to the buyers like us. So that's how Ethiopia works or Africa works. And the reason why is because in Africa, most of the time, farmers own super small lands, right? There are even farmers that has only half a hectare land and has maybe 100 trees only, right? The way they do it is basically they just collect those cherries during the harvest season and sell them to the nearest washing station, right? But then, like if you go to Brazil or Panama, it's a different story because the producer by itself is the exporter and they also own the farm. So the producer has a control almost on everything, where they own a coffee plantation. They own the washing station or the wheat mill. So this washing station in Africa, they call it wheat mill in American countries. So they own the coffee plantation, they own the wheat mill, the drying areas where they process the coffees. They own that. Sometimes, in some cases, they even own the dry mill by itself.
Wow.
And they also do the quality control by themselves, sell that coffee by themselves, and export the coffee. So they have the full control from planting it until selling that coffee to the consumers. Where else in Ethiopia, again, or in Africa, be it in Rwanda, be it in Kenya. No, in Kenya it's a different story also. But in Rwanda and Ethiopia, for instance, in the washing station, so again they process it, they do some fermentation stuff, they dry it, and then after the coffee dried in a specific moisture, they then bring it to the warehouse to rest the coffees. And the reason why they rest the coffees is to stabilize the water activity and the moisture. Now, once those coffees are stabilized from the warehouse in the producing areas. They didn't travel sometimes very far. Like for instance, in Sidama, traveling to Addis to bring those coffees in the dry mill for cleaning, and the dry mill is the responsible for cleaning those coffees, sorting those coffees, right? And then density, sorting, screen size separations, and especially colors sorting for them to get an exportable final quality of coffee
Wow.
to send to the buyers like us.
Interesting. I didn't know. So every country has their own protocol, depends on how developed they are, right?
Yes.
And the system which already had been established.
Yeah, in Colombia, some cases there are producers, like I will mention one, like Cafe Granja La Esperanza. They have full control on everything because they own coffee plantation, they own the area where they ferment coffees and dry the coffees, and they have also dry mill. But in most of the cases in Colombia, the farmers are the one who is responsible to process their coffee. So an example of, let's say I'm a farmer and I own 2 hectare land and I grow Castillo. I'm responsible to pick those cherries. I'm responsible to do the sorting, fermentation, and drying. And then once it's coffee ready, I then sell this coffee to the cooperatives. So cooperatives are the one who gather those small farmers in areas, and then the cooperative is the one who will sell them or invite buyers like us to sell the coffee, and basically to also mill those coffees. So that's how it works. But in Colombia, it's really good because when a farmer delivers his parchment coffee to the cooperative has all the data that they gather, like what's the variety of your coffee, what is the elevation of your farm, how many hectares is your farm, what's the name of the producer, what's even the family, the wife or the children of the producer, and even the dog name. They can even gather those information, and that's why even though that it's a collective. It's a coffee that collects from the different areas. They can still manage to give you a very traceable coffee.
So which makes your job easier, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other question regarding also coffee origin trip. So from your side, you are responsible for green purchasing, right? So how do you find producers and establish relationships? So to me, it seems like very niche questions. Yeah. So because nobody, I think, only few people understand how coffee is being bought, right? So, but for you, for a roastery, how do you do that? Like, you just buy tickets and go to Colombia and just do hunting, or you know already some contacts? How it's happening?
Yeah, when we started in Archers, it's quite difficult because we don't have enough reputation to introduce ourselves to famous producers all around the world. But then now it's fairly easy because we managed to make at least a name of the business now, and producing famous producers all around the world, at least somehow already knows us, and we already get connected. But the way how I buy coffees, right? It is very. This is one of the biggest. This is one of the reasons why we actually opened Archers, because before, years back when we started, when coffee is just, especially coffee is just started in UAE or in the Middle East. This is like 10 years ago. We thought, and I even thought that if I run out of Ethiopian coffee, I just buy an Ethiopian coffee. If I run out Ethiopian coffee or around December, I just buy an Ethiopian coffee during December, which actually doesn't make sense because in December, Ethiopia is just on the peakest of their harvest. Now, if you buy coffee from Ethiopia in December time, basically what you're buying is the last crop and somehow kind of leftover coffees to all buyers all around the world, right? Now buying coffee, the way I do it is at first, I think now it's very easy to find good producers because of coffee competition. Mainly, we are linking ourselves to them. When you talk about Colombia, you have Granjal Esperanza, La Palma El Tucan, Creativa Coffee District. We link ourselves to the top producers. And the same thing in Panama. There is Finca de Bora, Jensen Coffee, Abu Coffee, and famous producers, Lamastos and stuff like that. We link ourselves first to them, right? Second is when you buy coffee, you need to know what is actually the trend on the market, right? Because trend keep on changing not every year, maybe every 2-3 years. For instance, few years back, 6 years back, the trend is clean coffee, very even physical look on the raw material, and it's just defined flavors. It's mainly clean coffees, clean and sweet coffees, right? But trend is keep on changing every now and then, right? Now the current trend of I remember we also have this trend of these funky coffees, very boozy, very fermented coffees, and that's like what? 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And then I noticed that the market itself starts to get that correction of, okay, this is actually too much fermentation. Now the market is correcting themselves. And the trend now is going back to that cleaner, fermentation is still there, but more of a cleaner, and the fermentation that's only helping the coffee doesn't outshine the terroir of the coffee. And that's what the trend right now. Another trend right now is we currently mostly chasing flavors of coffee. We chase flavors in coffee. So for instance, when you chase flavors in coffee, there are also some things that you need to waive, right? Waive off. What I mean is, and the reason why is coffee in the past years, the innovation in coffee is too fast, right? And for the past 5-6 years, we started this trend of innovation on coffee processing, right? And now anaerobics are very common, and this coffee processing is very important because this elevates the flavors of the coffee if you do it correctly. But in some cases, it can also go sideways, right? But again, it's very important because this type of processing elevates the regular, for instance, in let's say a Castillo in Colombia, if you process them, wash process, maybe the best way you can score 84, 85. To do a specific processing can elevate the score to 86, 87. So processing is very important, but the challenge with this processing, it's a big risk on the physical look of the coffee, right? Nowadays, you can see the coffee that is not very even looking, like there is kind of black, there is kind of a bit lighter color, and there's look like green color. And when you sell that when you bring those type of coffee, which is beautiful in flavors, but when you bring that to our market, a lot of people here that don't understand coffee processing, they will say, no, this is a very bad coffee. See, it's not even, right? So this is the challenging on processing right now, that current the current trend right now is we're chasing flavors, but you need to understand that you need to wave off some of those what is right before that it needs to be screen size. The screen size should be even. The colors should be even. You need to wave off that because nowadays, even a very bigger range of screen size of coffees and very uneven colors of coffees produce an amazing flavors. So when you decide as a buyer, you need to taste the coffee before you judge the coffee.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
you cannot judge a coffee based on physical look, but you need to taste it and then you can confirm if this coffee is good or bad. Yeah.
But anyway, when you connect yourself with producers, famous one, but how to find like the other one? Because I think market was already filled up with some famous producers, but how to find the others farmers who need to support, because coffee industry is about supporting the other farmers who don't have access to the internet. So do you do something like that, like hunting coffee to find your ways? Not only, as I understood, you link yourself with the famous one, but do you have any farmers which you establish a relationship with, like, but you found them like by chance?
Yes.
When you traveled, how was it?
Oh yes, and one story is when I traveled to Rwanda. I think 2 years ago, right? I think 2 years ago. So when I traveled to Rwanda, I went to this specific producer, and I visited their farms, and I tried his coffee, and his coffee tastes amazing. But in that trip, I also bumped with another producer that he invited me in his cupping table, and I actually don't know the producer. He invited me in his laboratory, cup the coffees, and the coffee tastes unbelievably good. I was like, oh, this is this is. So my purpose is to go to this producer, but I
Okay.
end up buying more coffee to this producer.
Okay.
That's and then we are still buying from that producer until
Wow.
now. And I guess because of his style of coffee suits the flavors that the market in the UAE like very tropical, very aromatic, and also I bump some producers in Colombia, right? I work with not very famous producers where we are helping each other to grow. I don't know, I will mention the name of his farm called Finca La Julia. So I bumped with him a few years back, and my friend from Singapore told me about him, and then in the first year of my friend telling me about him, I didn't really bite it because I don't know the producer, and then the producer, I'm trying to check, there's no people using his coffee for competition. But by the time I tried his coffee, it tastes amazing. I was like, wow, this doesn't make sense. From that moment, I start to contact him, and we are still buying coffee from him until now. But we also grow where now he understands what type of flavor characters we are looking for to this market. And we are trying to create a recipe on fermentation that suits with the market here
That's
in
the most
UAE.
interesting part, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
But most of our producers that we are working for them for a long period of time now.
Yeah. So this is actually the next question. What are the most important aspects of maintaining a good relationship with the coffee suppliers from the farm? How to trust people? Because to me, it seems like you travel far away. You find just people, as you said already, like you bumped with the person who gave you a nice copy on the cupping, so you buy it.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for the crop, and how do you trust that the coffee will be the same that you tried already? How it works?
Okay, that's a nice question. Good thing because in my head I wanted to talk to it earlier. So how the buying works is you first get an offer sample on the harvest. You cup that coffees, and if you like those coffees, then you contract those coffees. By the time you contract those coffees, which you confirm to buy those coffees, the producer then prepare those coffees, clean those coffees, and prepare that for an export. But before they ship those coffees, they send you a pre-shipment sample, PSS. So the PSS is a sample where this coffee is ready to move to you, but it will not move from their country, the origin, until you confirm the coffee. So what I'm doing is when I receive the pre-shipment samples, I then compare the offer sample and the pre-shipment sample. I can see the green beans, the screen size, the colors, and then I will reflect then to the cupping. So I cup the pre-shipment samples, I compare the cupping to the offer sample. And to be honest, there's always a changes. You cannot say that it's 100% the same coffee. There's a changes because in coffee, it's mainly it's a gift by the nature, right?
Yeah.
It's only a few things that we can actually control, right? And when you buy those 10,000 kilos of coffee, they produce those 10,000 not in one day, but they produce them in a couple of months. So the coffee is actually, there will be some changes on the coffee. But for me if the changes is not too drastic, there's a specific percentage of changes that I can accept. And then if the changes is not too drastic, sometimes it's even better than the offer sample.
But have you ever experienced like the bad coffee?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. You
For
need to be
years
very
in buying
careful.
coffee, I experienced that the offer sample is really good and the arrival is really bad.
So in this case, you have to write a producer, like your report, like unfortunately I can't accept this lot of coffee.
That is very challenging. But before we go to that, so basically you confirm the PSA sample, and that's the time they start shipping the coffees here. Then when they ship the coffees here, there's what we do is you have this jute bags of coffee or boxes of coffee. You randomly choose boxes of coffee. You open coffee randomly, get sample at what we call arrival sample.
Yeah.
And then when you get a sample from different random bags or random boxes, then you compare those coffees to your offer sample and the PSS sample for you to know that is it really the right coffee from the offer until the arrival of the coffees here. And it's very frustrating because there are some cases that is not. And when we buy coffees, we know what coffees to buy. The coffee needs to suit what the market needs and wants and like, right? But if the coffee will arrive here and it's different from what you confirm, what then happen is it's so frustrating because instead of you 100% sure that you can sell those coffees, then the coffee will instead not sell because it doesn't suit for the liking of the market here. And what actually going back to your question earlier, what will I do is I will give the producer all my report. I will tell him that hey, this is your offer and this is the PSS and this is the arrival. I will check first the moisture level. I will check the screen sizes, and then I will take a nice good picture for the colors of the beans. And then I will send to him together with the cupping evaluation from your offer, PSS, and the arrival. And in some cases, when you do that, producers somehow kind of accept those mistakes. But then it's very expensive it's very costly to return them back to the producing country. And we never done that. If the coffee arrival here is actually bad, most of the cases, the risk is from your side.
Oh, I see.
And what happens is you then tell the producer and basically maybe don't buy the coffee from them the next year. That's what mainly happened. But it's a very expensive cost because
Yeah.
imagine a mistake of one container. That is almost $1 million mistake.
Yeah.
Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But there are producers that we give a chance, especially if producers he has a good reason behind it, and we know that that producer really is not, he will not lie to you, or he's actually a good producer. It's just there are some cases that things happen like that. Maybe it's out of his hands, right? Because most of the cases they're delivering a lot of coffees all around the world, right? And there are some cases that it's out of their hands, and we give them one chance. But what I'm doing is, if the producer commit a mistake this year, I will actually travel and meet that producer himself.
Wow.
And I will tell him face to face that I face this problem. Yeah. And most cases, the next year, he give you the best lots that he ever produced on that
Wow.
current year. Yeah.
Interesting. Right. So let's speak about roastery. I'm curious about the business side of the roasting company. How does it work, starting from the scratch? So you are as a co-founder of Archers. Can you tell me in details, like how you came up to this company? So of course you have a background in coffee, but what was the path to make the roastery, and some more details.
Yeah, I love that. I think building Archers is my frustration to the UAE market before, few years back, and the reason why is there's a lot of challenges in the UAE market before, and I noticed that there are a lot of people opening up a business, but most of the time they don't actually notice the problems on the market beforehand. And Archers, I think I'm together with my partners able to make Archers because of the same mindset. So Kemal is one of the co-founder, and Dave is one of the co-founder, and then we have some local partners as well. But then when I met Dave and Kemal, we have the same visions of we are looking on those problems that we have in the UAE market, and no one really solving them. And these are few problems, right? So a few years back, one of the problem in the UAE is an access of the raw material. It's very hard for our roasters to buy good green beans. And I dig deep and I realize it's hard because there are very few actually know how to buy coffee, right? Buying coffee means you need to study when is the harvest season. You need to study when is the right time and timing to buy. An example, Colombia, for instance, in Tolema and Huela, they have 2 harvest season. You need to know when is the harvest season, so that you can know when you will buy coffees. But Colombia is so huge. If you go on the other side, which is Santa Marta, there are only 1 harvest season. And then if you go to Valle de Cauca, there are almost like few small harvests in the middle of the year. So as a buyer, it's easy to say this guy is a coffee buyer, but there's a lot of study that you need to do for you to become a good coffee buyer.
Yeah,
and
it's not just to buy coffee and sell it.
Yes.
And be a roaster.
You need to study a lot of things.
Yeah.
You need to study the farm. You need to study logistics. You need to study import and export. You need to study a lot of all of those things. And most importantly, you need to study, again, the harvest season of different areas. Like in Ethiopia, when is the harvest season and when is the buying season? Because the window of buying season is very, very short window, right? In Ethiopia, for instance, the harvest starts in September from the lowlands, and sometimes it finished February from the very highlands. And the window to buy coffee is around February second week to March second week. These are a very short window. And the reason why I said this window, and those windows will change year to year, depending on if the harvest is early or the harvest is late. And the reason why I tell you this window, because if you buy coffee too early, you might not have a chance to cup those coffees in the very highlands. And those are beautiful coffees. But if you're waiting for those highlands also, you might not have the chance to cup the coffees from the slightly lower lands. So the challenge before is the access of that raw material, because there are very few understand how to buy coffee. So that's the first challenge, right? The second challenge before is pricing. This relates to pricing. Few years back, I noticed a lot of cafes buying their whole roasted coffee from Europe, US, or China. And for me, I was like, doesn't make sense. This is UAE. We have all the access of everything, but how come that you are buying from other countries? So it's a question on my mind, and the same question like what Dave and Kemal is thinking. And it doesn't make sense where coffee here, imagine if a cafe is here, thousands of coffees here, buy only coffees from outside the country. What will happen to us as local roasters, right? And then I start asking this question: why are you buying to other countries? And their answer to me is the same. Everyone answers the same. They get better quality coffee and cheaper price. It doesn't make sense again. Because I asked this question of, okay, how can you get a cheaper price when you pay the shipping fee? I was like, that we are buying this much, even together with the shipping. My buying is still lower compared to the prices currently on the market of UAE before. So it's frustrating. So prices. Another challenge of the market before that I face as a coffee person in UAE is an access to coffee education. Before, the access of barista and brewing, there is in this market. I'm very happy for that. But if you want to go deeper, you want to do sensory, you need to fly out from the country. If you want to go roasting, you want to fly out from the country. If you want to do processing courses, you need to fly out. Q grading, you need to go outside the country. There is actually no one is doing here. And for me, education is very important for us, this industry, to be very sustainable. So I have this in my mind, the problems of the challenges that we face in the market, and someone needs to fix this problem. And when I open Archers together with my partners, it's not mainly, of course, money is important, but our aim is to fix those problems, and later on, money will come. Money is just money. Money will come if you actually have a vision to do something, to change something, right? And by doing that, moving forward, business grows, and money come. And right now, what I'm doing is, because those problem is already solved in the current year. A lot of people doing education now. Now the access of raw material is already here into this market. Prices is already good to this market. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking for another problems to solve. Hopefully I will find one today or in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Which problems, in your opinion, UAE market facing right now, currently?
So, like what I've said earlier, those three problems is already solved.
Yes, it's already solved. But
but right now, that's a good question, because I'm looking for a problem. Problem is always an opportunity to do something.
Yes, exactly.
I'm really looking for the problems right now. I think the challenges that's what we are facing right now is there are many people who understand coffee in a not in a deeper perspective. Like they understand. Sometimes when you understand a little, that's the guys who talk too much. And I guess the problem that we're facing is these things of, I don't like your coffee. There's Quakers on your natural Ethiopia. I don't like your coffee, your Colombia, because it has different color shades. I don't like your Ethiopia because the screen size is not even. I think this is actually what's the problem right now. And to solve this problem, it's an effort between a lot of coffee educators. And you yourself as a coffee educator, that I think this is what I see is the current problem. We need to update the market of what is currently right now, because what we know a few years back is actually what is right few years back is it's not correct. There are things that is not actually right now, because innovation in coffee is so fast, and again, what is right before is already wrong into these days.
Yeah. Agree with you. Let's see how we can change the market, because
Hopefully. We need to push.
we need to push. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Education's right tool for that. So, how did you feel when you start operating like tremendous amount of orders? Like after a while, like I think you got some achievement after the opening. So, what were your feelings when you realized, oh my God, we supply lots of clients already? Because you already told that you faced some challenges, so you solved some problems. And when was this aha moment? What were your feelings like? Oh my God, there are lots of orders. What to do?
Oh, yeah, it's very overwhelming for us in the beginning. I remember, imagine me, Dave, and Kimal. We are the guys who open, right? And we are the source. We are the one who source the coffee. We are the one who roast the coffee. We are the one who sort the coffee. We are the one who bag the coffee. We are the one who clean the space. We are the one who deliver the coffee. We are the one who quality control the coffee. When we started Archers, it's frustrating because you become everything. You become a delivery boy. You become a cleaner. You become a sales. You become a QC. You become everything. And by the time that I noticed that it's very overwhelming, because on just a span of a year, order pick up so fast. And actually going back to the beginning of Archers, the first plan is not to open a roastery. The first plan is to be a green coffee trader in UAE.
Ah, that was initial plan for you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we want to become a green coffee trader to supply roasters here, to solve the problem of the access of a good raw material, right? But then when we open the business, on just a span of few months, most of the clients want to buy the green beans, but they also ask us, okay, I will buy this green beans because I like it and the cupping, but who will roast this coffee? In the span of a month, maybe in 3 months, we shift from becoming a green beans trader to become a roastery. And it's very overwhelming, because when we start Archers, we don't even have a roasting machine. The roasting machine come in the later part. You know what we did? We are renting roasting machine outside
Really?
in Dubai. So we receive the orders. We have the green beans. We bring these green beans to a roastery. We
Okay.
roast this coffee, bring them back to Archers, sort this coffee, bag this coffee, and deliver this. So that's what happened in the first years of Archers, until the orders pick up. We got overwhelmed by orders. We start ordering machine, and it's not too fast to order. It's not magic to get a 12 kilo Probat or a 15 kilo Gishan. It's not a magic. It will take months.
Yeah.
But by the time by the time we had a roasting machine, it is even late, because by the time the Probat arrived to us, our order is already too big, that even the Probat by itself cannot cope up with the demand that is keep on pouring every day. And then that's the reason why we also get another machine which is lowering the 35 kilos. But yeah, it's very fulfilling also on the other side to actually know that a lot of people trust us, trust the coffees that we sell, and yeah, it's good to it's it's a
Wow.
very fulfilling moment. Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah.
It seems like a growing family.
Yeah.
And regarding management in the roastery, in your opinion, what must be done to achieve good management in the roastery to still grow your company, to succeed?
Management. My style of management is very chill. I want the people to have freedom, because I was working since I'm very young, and I always end up working in some big international company, and the freedom is not freedom of you as an employee is not very common, right? The freedom is very restricted. So when I think to open Archers, the first thing that I do is I need to make sure that I give freedom to the people, freedom for them to decide, freedom to do what they want to do. Um, um, we paid also well the people, not only for them to survive on their income, but also I make sure that their income is good, so that it's not only survival income. They also live their life. So when you have this freedom, better income, and the person working to you will actually help you. It's a less stress from the management side, because your people will help you to grow the business by itself. But then one thing also on the freedom, I think a very important part is at least to make sure that there is a company rules and regulations that everyone is following, because giving too much freedom also, most of the time they take it for granted, right? Like for instance in Archers, if you come late, if you are absent, I don't ask you a question. I trust you that you are absent. That's before, right? But sometimes, some cases, giving freedom to the employees, they kind of take it for granted sometimes. Right now, what I'm doing is, yes, I'm giving them freedom, but there is a company rules and regulation that everyone will follow. Even the management, the managing partner will follow the rules and regulation, so that we are in the same direction.
Yeah, you're like on
Yeah.
the same page, and everyone knows what to do.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will be chaos. I totally agree with you. Yeah, it
Yeah.
must be freedom, but it must be sort of discipline as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Too
totally.
much
agree.
freedom is not good. I think all too much is not good.
Yeah, even for yourself, think about yourself, of course. If you're lazy, it's okay sometimes to be lazy.
Yeah.
You need to control yourself, and
Yeah.
also you need to control your company. Right. Anything else?
And also part of that management is to make sure to delegate people properly, right? Hiring the right people to the finance department, the accounts team, the admin team, right? Hiring the right people for marketing, hiring the right people for the production area, finding the right people to be the face, the guys that is going outside to be the face of your brand. Finding those people is very, very important for the business to grow as well.
Yeah, right. What do you love about your job?
What I love, tasting hundreds and thousands of coffees every year. I just love it. I am very fortunate. I'm very fortunate on that part. I've tasted, I've tasted lots of coffees in my life, beautiful coffees.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about my job. Before I loved traveling, but then I realized that traveling is actually stressful. I remember last year I went to attend to Boston and ECA event. And then after that, I jumped to Guatemala, running away, and then jumped to Costa Rica, and then jumped to Panama. So from Costa Rica, I drive to Panama, and in Panama, I went to Colombia, and traveling. In other, I think in the other perspective, or if you don't experience those work travel and very tight work travel, when you see my Instagram only, maybe you say, oh, this guy is very lucky.
Yeah, you have lots of countries.
Behind that is a lot of hard work. You need to wake up so early because you need to meet this producer. And this producer will bring you to his farms. After that, you need to cup coffees. After that, you cup coffees. You need to hang out a little bit, and then the next day you're running again. The same. What happened to you on that day? You wake up very early. You sleep too late. Wake up very early, meeting another producers, and repeat what you do. And then you need to run to your next flight, going to another countries. So there's tons of hard work.
Hard work.
Aside from that Instagrammable pictures.
Yeah.
And a lot of troubles in the roads, long troubles. And it's very stressful sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It seems romantic.
Yes.
But actually, behind the scenes, lots of job must be done, and you need to be disciplined as well, right?
Yes.
Exactly. But do you remember your worst working day or maybe period in Archers? Or maybe you were like, no way. Maybe you felt like you were gonna fed up and.
I think I feel that always, being a leader, being someone who managed the business and partly owning the business is really not easy. It's not easy because you are the person to decide, be it good and be it worst, right? And you need to prepare yourself on a daily basis that there will be some negative problems today. You need to prepare yourself for that heartbreaking moments. Be it something like this. Be it one of the guy who's helping us delivery bump his car in the middle of the road. Be it like that. Be it our walk-in freezer where we store a very expensive coffee stop working. And it's $1 million inside, $1 million dirhams inside those freezer. Be it something like that. Be it the machine is not working, right? Be it there's no driver, there's no available people to deliver the coffee. So I think I always experience that, and I guess you just need to be really strong. Because as a business owner and as plus managing the business, you cannot show that you cannot show that weakness to your people, because it's a domino effect. If you show that weakness to your people, kind of demotivated, and that will actually impact everyone on your group. So every day you wake up, you slap yourself, boom, baba, you need to work hard, you need to be strong, because you will face a lot of problems today. Not every day, but sometimes there are good things happening, which is, but that's life,
Yeah, exactly. But do you remember maybe one particular story when you completely
really
failed something? You were like, no way.
I guess that failing moment is basically the moments when we started Archers, where we don't have roasting machine and it's very frustrated, and even the roaster where we are renting the coffee saying, hey, we cannot roast today because we are so busy, and then we have deliveries needs to be orders needs to be filled. That moment is very frustrating to me. Nowadays I'm okay. I handle. I've been to a very worst, experience. So right now,
all good.
I'm just accepting everything and chill and solve the problem. Yeah.
Okay. What did you learn from that experience from the beginning of the company? So you felt frustrated, but how it helped you to be where you are right now?
Yes, no, those hard times always help us to be where we are right now. Without those hard times, we will never be where we are right now. So I'm very lucky for those hard times as well. It's those moments will keep you moving, right? And it's very fulfilling when you pass that moment.
Yeah. Right, right. What will be your advice for someone who would love to open up a roastery?
Yes, nice. Oh, there's a lot of advice that I can, can advise. Not only on buying side, not only understanding coffee, but understanding business in general. Um, be it understanding the business in general, numbers. When we start Archers, one of the challenging moment that I face is, I know how the coffee works, but I'm not a business person. I don't know finance. But what I did is, in the middle of this knowing more about coffee, in the middle of this, I joined to some courses on business courses. For me, to be able to cope up with, or to be able to understand the business in general. So, and this is also my advice to the people opening up a business. You need to understand numbers, the money, right? But you also need to understand coffee, right? You understand also how important branding and branding guidelines. This is very important. You need to understand how to choose and recognize people. There are so many things that makes the business actually successful, and it's like a chain, right? One of this is not good. You break the chain, and business will hard to be successful. It will take you. It will be so hard for you to become a successful business if you break those chains. So, and for instance, in the UAE, right? Like a lot of people maybe have money, and they think, okay, I'll open a roastery tomorrow, and that's it. I'll just hire one copy people, and then that's it. But that's actually not how it works. You really need to understand that whole business by itself. You need to understand everything there, because if not, then you might close your business after a few years, or you will always get eaten by the guys who understand how to really run the business well. So yeah, that's my advice too.
100%.
Yeah.
I need some insider information. How
Yes.
much do you sell in Middle East? So regarding roasting coffee and green beans, is it like 50-50 or 70% you sell green beans and 30 roasted?
No, we are mainly the business come from the wholesale side, B2B. Probably 80% of the business coming from that wholesale side.
Roasted coffee.
Wholesale coffee.
20, it's like green
It's a
bean
mix
string.
of education, green beans.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
you get lucky. So in the buying season, for instance, and it's not always, right? So there's a buying season of Ethiopia, Kenya,
Sure.
Panama. So for instance, you can sell 2 containers of Ethiopian coffee, let's say in Saudi, and you sell, let's say, almost 2 million dirhams. So there's just not that example, but then it will not happen all the time. That will happen maybe once a year, twice a year.
Yeah, sure.
But the main business is from roasting, which is
I see.
probably now we are in 15 plus thousand kilos per month. Yeah,
All right.
around that range. And I'm very happy also that because UAE market is very small. If you our population here is very small. The country itself.
But do you supply mostly in UAE?
We supply mostly in UAE.
Yeah, but also you have some international shipping?
Now we supply few cafes in Europe, a few cafes in China, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines. So we have now some few
relationship
cafes.
is like long term. It's not like someone bought coffee from your website and
No. It's,
okay.
we are really supplying them
wow.
every. And China
Impressive.
is becoming more bigger and bigger.
Wow.
The orders in that area in Asia become bigger and bigger every month. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But regarding green beans, also UAE, or you can send green beans to different countries?
Yeah, we do we do send coffees from different countries, like mostly neighboring countries, Saudi, Qatar, Oman. So there are new roasters that we are helping where they worried to directly source their coffee because they worried that someone might cheat them. There are some I've experienced like that where okay I buy it to you, I pay your service, and but it's a risk for them to make sure that they will get what they actually buy. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you tell me like three things which differs you from roasteries in Middle East?
Oh, what are those three things? I don't really.
Just what pops up in your mind right now? If I speak about archers, what archers is?
Yeah, so I don't differentiate ourselves to others. I think everyone is doing good job, but I think what is our strength right now is we are already have producers where we already got married to them. We already found a producer that is a good producer that supply us beautiful coffees every year, and we grow together to them. There is that part. There is also a part of, at least right now, not like in the first year of our church, that we can't even afford to buy coffee. At least now somehow we are able to purchase coffees in volumes. That's why we can able to purchase directly from producing countries and do direct direct trading. There is that, and lastly, I have a beautiful team. Right? People work with us, loves what they are doing, really loves what they are doing, and no joke on that. They love what they do. I can see to them, I can feel to them that they like what they do, and I'm kind of surrounding with those people having that like-minded or very motivated or very visionary people, and that helps our business to grow. So I'm very fortunate to have the whole team in Archers.
Yeah. Good. But could you tell me what are things that drastically helped you to build up this company and your career as well?
Yeah. The one that really helps me is that motivation to solve problems before. That's actually my best motivator to do something like this. So I think that's my gasoline. Why I'm here right now. Yeah. Solving those problems beforehand in this market, which is already solved again currently.
Yeah. So I think what helped you is like the vision that you have already after living here, right? Like.
Yeah. So that vision of you wanted to solve problem because that adds value to the industry and to the community.
Yeah.
That's my gasoline. That's my driving.
So your inspiration
motivation.
is the actually market here in UAE.
Yeah, the problems that we need to solve. That's my inspiration.
Right.
Someone needs to solve it though.
Nice. So what are your nearest goals in the coffee industry?
Oh, nearest goals.
Your personal and as a company, of course, as a part of the company.
My personal, I think spending more time with family.
Yeah.
Archers is taking all of my time, and my wife, my kids. I really feel bad sometimes that all my times is just Archers. Even though I'm in the house, I'm answering producers' call. I'm talking to producers. I'm talking to clients. I'm talking to the work, and that moment seeing my family, it's like I'm kind of away to them. So my goal is maybe to spend more time with my wife, my family, my kids, be a father to a family. I think that's one of my goals this year,
I see.
and not to overly work, yeah, because I work so so much, and Archers takes all my time. Yeah, so
But that's why
that's
you're
my goal.
successful.
That's my goal. In business, my main goal is to maintain. Right, for me, it's easy to grow, but maintaining that growth is very hard. Right? It's easy for you to be there on the top. It's easy. But to maintain to be somewhere there is very hard. So my goal right now is how can we able to maintain the business? Don't force the growth. Just grow organically, but make sure that you maintain the business, because that's the challenge, a very very big challenge that what we are facing right now in our church. There's a lot of cafes come and go, and like our time is not enough to service those people, right? Because it's also very very overwhelming, right? So what I'm doing for the past actually few weeks, few months, I'm trying to restructure and create the system in Archers where our focus is to stabilize this business. Forget getting new clients and another clients and another client. Forget that, right? Focus on the current ones that you have and maintain that relationship.
Yeah,
That's my goal.
Sustainability is
yes,
the key.
sustain them.
Exactly. Yeah. I imagine in this situation, like your company is a balloon. You always want to be bigger, 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 but this is very risky moment that you can be burst out.
Yes, that's very hard.
So you need to maintain to be just.
Make sure.
Yeah.
we're okay, not too big, not too small, just okay, and just enjoy.
Yeah.
And also, if you think about it, if you think about it, right? Like if you open a business, right? What is how much money you need for you to be happy, right? It's very, for me, it's actually money should not be the driving force to drive your business. Money is just money, right? Because when you think about money only to grow, so for you, if you think that growth is basically earning big money, money is unlimited. It will not stop. So if your happiness is money, you will never be happy. So as a business owner, right? The same thing what I said to the partners in Archers, right? Money is money. How much, until when you will be happy on money? And if you notice those very successful people, right? They said, I've heard this once, that let them be famous and let them be rich for them to realize that being famous and having a lot of money is not the reason for happiness. So
Exactly.
money is only money. You just need to focus and give value to you just need to love what you do and give value to this market here. Money will come. Yeah.
Wonderful. Excellent
Yeah.
quote. Yeah. So the last thing will be, what is the biggest takeaway you hope listeners learn from our conversation today?
The takeaway. I guess because me, right, as a Filipino, a stereotype of being Filipino. The problem with us is you always, there's a lot of Filipinos here, and most of the time, the stereotype of being a Filipino is most of the time we're mainly an employee of a business. But then you can actually do something on your own, right? And for me, to the advice that I can give or to a lot of people is, aside from so first thing first, you need to love what you do, right? You definitely need to love what you do, but at the same time you need to learn new skill set every now and then, right? I give you one example. Baristas 5 years ago, the value is very high is because the demand is very high, and kind of the supply or the baristas, professional baristas, is very few. So the value of these guys are very high, right? But then move forward in 2022, there's a lot of people now understand coffee. Now the value of being a barista, right? The value of being a barista is actually decreased a bit. Now what you can do is you need to learn new skill sets for you to be able to have that market value, right? I know a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of same batches of coffee people, right? They mainly just focus on coffee, and they are so passionate in coffee, but sometimes they forget to learn new skill set, like be it management, be it marketing, be it roasting, be whatever. But you need to learn new skill set for you to be able to give, or for you to be able that great value to wherever you are. So that's yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow. So it was absolutely informative talk with you, and I'm sure our listeners will find this episode useful.
Okay.
And thank you so much for your time, Fred.
Wow. Thank you, Arina. It's already 1 hour. I thought it's very short, you know. But thank you so much, Arina. Thank you for having me here to your podcast. This is a very great platform so that we can share our experience or knowledge to our community, and keep doing it. And again, thanks for having me.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. And this was Coffee People in Middle East podcast. Thank you so much for the listening. Bye bye. Thanks for the listening. If you enjoy those conversations as much as I do, consider supporting my podcast. The best support from you would be your likes and sharing of my Instagram page, or if you buy coffee from Roastery directly from me. And if you need any education program, either SEA certification or coffee consulting for your coffee shop, please hit me up.